Hi everyone, it's Samantha Tennant, and welcome to another Fresh Fiction Video Book Club. I am so excited for our guest today, Hannah Nicole Maehrer. I first discovered your books last year, Hannah, and read the first two immediately right after each other, The Assistants to the
Oh,
Villain, and then, of course, The Apprentice to the Villain. And I'm currently reading The Accomplice to the Villain. For everyone that doesn't know Hannah, I mean, she came out of the gate as a number one New York Times bestseller list. Number one, people. Hannah, I mean, going from a nanny who is posting skits on BookTok to a number one New York Times bestseller. I mean,
yeah.
first, officially welcome, but wow.
Thank you. I'm so excited. You guys are hilarious. I was like dying sitting.
See, we fit right into the world there with Evie and the
No, I
villain,
was like,
right?
you guys could go right into the office and they wouldn't even know that you weren't you weren't working there.
But what was that like? I mean, what talk about that journey from coming up
Oh
with
my
a skit
gosh.
while you were a nanny to then actually
Yeah.
putting it on paper and then just how the series has blown up.
I still don't fully believe it. I think that I've just created a really elaborate hallucination in my head and you all are just a part of it. Because my mind is that, my imagination's that big. But yeah, I think it was something that like crept up on me and then all of a sudden I felt like I was in it and it wasn't like a gradual like I'm just kind of falling into it, but it was like gradual, I'm wording this poorly, it's like that quote where they say it's like falling asleep, like, gradually and then all at once. And that's how kind of exactly how it felt. I started making the skits in State College, Pennsylvania, right after college, and I was working full time as a nanny. And it was just a creative outlet. I was really struggling with my mental health at the time, and I was looking for an outlet. I really loved watching like all of my favorite creators on BookTok, and I kept thinking I would love to make some videos at some point, and it felt like a very safe thing to do because I always had petrifying stage fright. But it's just you and your camera. So you can't really get like stage fright. And in my head, I just kept pretending all the people watching weren't real. I was like, they're all robots. So when people started coming to book events, my brain started to have to process that like they were real people watching those videos, and that was a bit jarring. Yeah, and I fell so in love with playing the assistant to the villain and the idea of it and how hilarious and satirical it was. And it sort of became an amalgamation of all of the things that I grew up loving about storytelling. And I kept writing the books, and it just felt like from then on, it was just sort of like a rapid fire thing. I started writing the book in 2021. I finished early 2022. I signed with an agent that summer, and we signed with my publisher at Red Tower that following November. And then by the following August, Assistant to the Villain was out. So I feel like I haven't caught my breath yet, even 3 books later. But it's been incredible. Like I really love these books like the most, like so much, and it's really wild that there's other people that like it. Because I'm like, I think I'm funny, but there's other people that think I'm funny. Someone tell my brothers immediately.
I can relate to that comment.
Yeah.
Yes. No matter what I do, my brother still thinks, Samantha, you just don't understand anything,
Oh, yeah, yeah. They keep you
Never quite
humble.
smart enough, not funny. Yeah,
Yeah, they
definitely
keep you
keeps you humble.
grounded. They're like, yeah, yeah, they keep you level. People are like, "Oh, are you like?" I'm like, I forget sometimes that I'm a New York Times bestseller because I spend my days with my very like funny family that's always like teasing and joking and just, bringing you right back down to earth in the
Oh,
best
yes.
way
Yes.
possible.
Because family is an overall theme in these books, right? I mean, there is the family that you were born with and all the different relationships that the various characters have with their own specific families. But then the whole notion of the found family is also prevalent in how, again, all these characters come together and at their core, they would really do anything for each other.
Yeah. Yeah, family is a huge thing for me. I'm Syrian and I come from like a very big Syrian family. We always describe it as like we prep people to meet our family by having them watch my big fat Greek wedding. We're like, it's pretty much the same except we're Arab. They're all gonna try to feed you. please tell them to stop if they continue. But my family is like very funny. Like all the banter in my books is how my family and I talk to one another. That's why when someone commented on a video once, and they were like, the way they talk is so unrealistic. And I was like, someone tell my family immediately.
Wow.
Tell them, because it was cracking me up, because that's all I've really ever known is like that quick back and forth. Someone's always coming up with like a funny comment. And I spent most of my childhood with all boys. I was the only
Mhm.
girl in my family, and football Sundays at my Aunt Kim's across the street was always a big thing. So I would go over every Sunday and I would bring a book because I unfortunately did not pick up the football gene as much as my brothers tried. They were like, please, please, you have to root for the Eagles. And I was like, just tell me when to cheer. I'm reading the next chapter, but I'm here for you emotionally. Like I'm here for support. And that's sort of the mode I was always in. And it became like my favorite place to write as well as read because I loved the noise and the sounds and the smells and the love in the room and the teasing. And it seeps into everything that I write. And I was surprised how much it seeped into these books, but I realized like after writing each one that there's such a family theme throughout them. And it was never intentional. It just kind of like happened. And the found family aspect, I think, comes from the fact that sometimes even within your family you feel like a little bit out of place, and then in life you can find people that maybe understand you on a level that the family you were born into doesn't understand you, and both have value and both are important, I think. But yeah, that was always a big thing for me growing up, so it was, yeah, fortuitous that it ended up in the books.
Well, and that was one of the things I read somewhere that when you are writing, you enjoy that background noise of people talking, that constant voice going. Because I'm the same way. I mean, I've always had the TV going. I mean, there's something
Yeah,
else kind of droning in the background, and I can't listen to music because
yeah.
then I get completely distracted by the music element.
I agree. I'm in the same boat. I love noise. If there's no noise, it's so distracting. And I know that's counterintuitive for a lot of people. I've talked to friends that are like, if people are talking, I cannot focus. But I have ADHD, and for some reason that them talking became my white noise as a
Hmm.
kid, and I'm just so used to people talking and yelling. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's a large group of men watching Philadelphia men watching football. So it's loud. If you've seen Silver Linings Playbook, that is not an exaggeration. That's exactly how the Eagles fans are. They're very passionate people. So they're screaming and yelling, and I am out. Like I'm not even there, but I can like sense it. I feel the emotions in the room, and it just makes me like want to create and do things. And if I'm at home and I'm not with my family, I have to have like a show on in the background just so I can hear people talking. So it's either friends or Gilmore Girls, New Girl, like funny shows that you don't really have to pay attention to, but that are nice to just like have like people talking in the background. Otherwise, I cannot sit down and do it. And I'm like you, music is too distracting unless it's the same song on a loop, which sounds
Oh, yeah. I know.
bonkers.
I've been there, done that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. You almost don't
Yep.
even notice it repeating because you're in it. And then you're like, I've listened to this song 17 times in the last hour. It's the
That
best.
was me in college because, and that's dating myself because it was the time of CDs. And so I'd be
Oh,
reading certain books, and that CD would just go over and over and over
yeah.
again. So now some of those songs are just ingrained with my memory of those
Yeah.
books too, on
Yeah.
certain scenes. It's like my own running soundtrack.
I love that. I love that. I was big into CDs too. I actually saw a video that made me want to throw up the other day, and it was these young girls, like middle school, elementary school girls, like could not figure out how to get a CD out of the case because they're like,
Oh,
it's so
Lord.
retro. I was like, what are you talking about? Don't say that. That's not true. I was losing my mind because I was like, you have to just press it and pull it out. They were like, we don't want to break it. It was a
They would
mess.
have been completely lost with my cassette tapes where the
Oh,
tape
yeah.
unreeled and I had to wind it
Yes.
like a hook with the pencil.
Oh yeah. We had those too. We had like the Alvin and the Chipmunks ones. We were like very into
Well, with
that.
all that different chaos going on, I mean, how do you see your books? Because I think this is fascinating knowing that they essentially started as a skit and seeing other posts that you've done on Instagram where you are Evie in a way for a lot
Yeah.
of these, right? So
Yeah.
does it go from those skits to then the actual words on paper? I mean, are you seeing the movie in your head in all the characters? Are you seeing yourself as Evie as you're going through? Are they talking to you? And how do you make sense of that with all the rest of the chaos?
Oh my gosh. I think that when I first started making the skits, that was the first moment that I felt like that connection to the story. There's actually, if you go back to 2021 to that first video I ever posted about the skits, the first episode, if you will, in the comments, somebody said this would be a really funny book. And I commented back, I'm gonna write it at some point. I just don't know when. And then with each video, the story started to unfold. So I started to spend my days, I'm a big daydreamer. I've been since I was really, really young. I was terrible at math and science and pretty much anything in school that wasn't reading or literary based because I had attention deficit issues that we weren't aware of at the time. We just thought I was very like daydreamy, and I am. I've always been a very visual in my head person. I build stories and worlds in my mind. I've always been this way. And so when I started making these, it was the first time in a really long time I was able to get my mind into that place because I was really struggling with anxiety and depression. These are things I've struggled with for most of my life, and reading was always kind of an escape for that. But this became like a different kind of escape that like I could create what I wanted to happen and that world. So over time I started to picture like what the villain looked like and what Evie would look like and what the office would look like and what the villain would say here. Because initially it was just me and the camera and me talking like I was talking to someone. And every time I would do that, I would picture what the villain would say back. So by the time that I sat down to write the book, I was maybe like 50 videos in. After like 3, 4 months, I was making them every single day because I was that like in love with it. And I had that many like ideas going at once that I had to keep making them. And so when I sat down to write it, I wrote 10,000 words in one sitting. It was the most I've ever written in one sitting, and it was seamless and easy. And that's never happened. It's never repeated, unfortunately. I'm still waiting for that like lightning to strike again. Unfortunately, not yet. But I remembered like finishing, and I sent it to my good friend Stacy McEwen, who's the author of the Glacian trilogy and a Forbidden Alchemy. And this was before we were both published. And I sent it to her and I was like, I am so in love with this. I need you to be honest if I should keep going. And she was like, yeah, you have to keep going. And Amber V. Nicole as well, the author of A Book of Azrael. I sent it to both of them and they both were like, yeah, you have to keep going. So I kept up with it and I built the world in my mind. Evie was originally me because the videos used to be if I was the Morley Gray
Mhm.
fantasy villain's personal assistant. But
Mhm.
she kind of became an extension of me, as did all the characters. I see myself in all of them. I put pieces of myself into every single book.
Mhm.
And they're all a bit of a reflection of what I was going through at that point in my life. So I've sort of immortalized that stage in my life within these books, and I've processed it through the characters, which is really special. And Evie's a character that I play or I write when I need someone to like pick me up
Mhm.
or someone to escape to. And she is all the best parts of me, I think. When people ask me, like, is it a self-insert? And I'm like, of course, obviously. If I can insert myself into this world, I absolutely will. Ah, my gosh, 100%. And a hot villain to work for? Absolutely. Any day of the week. But I think in extension to me, we're different in some ways, but she has all of the parts of me that I love about myself. And it was really lovely for me to be able to go to a character and objectively look at this character and go, I love all these things about this character, but these are things I do too. So I have to love these things about myself as well.
And I think that it's interesting that you say that and that you relate to all the different characters, obviously, because you're writing them. But there there's elements with each character too where it just resonates and where they're going through things. And I mean, some of these are handling some dark issues. I mean, again, with their original families, there are things and things that happen with Evie and Lissa. And of course, here we're always trying to stay spoiler free. So I don't want to give too much away. But then everything like with Becky and her family and where she's standoffish and then the relationship developing with her and Evie. I mean, there's and stuff with I mean, again, I can go on and on all these
Yeah,
different characters.
I love it.
Like but this book especially, I mean, you also wrote with a lot of multiple POVs in this book. I mean, you had
Yeah.
other points of view in the other ones too, but this one it seemed to jump from character to character a lot more. Is that easier because you are relating more to each of the characters, or was the multiple point of view more difficult? And was that something that evolved naturally with these books?
It evolved sort of naturally. I never planned to have that many points of view, but by the time we got to this book, it almost demanded that because there's points in the book where Evie and the villain are off doing their own
Mhm.
adventure. And there's other things though that need to be in motion at the same time. And it originally started when I started writing book two, because the first book is just Evie and the villain's point of view. And
Mhm.
originally at the time, that's how it was going to stay. But when I went in to go write book two, I kept thinking they're going to leave the office a lot in this book. And I
Mm.
don't like that we don't know what's happening in the office. And I knew I was exploring Becky's backstory in book two and more
Mhm.
about Becky. So I was like, oh, why wouldn't I just do a Becky point of view? That would be hilarious. And so I sat down and I tried to like get into her head and immediately it was like, she's so funny. Like she hates everyone because they're so in it. Like no one listens to her. Everyone's like, Becky's so harsh. And I'm like, no one listens to her. She's trying to keep everybody safe. She's HR. Give her a break. And she's just stressed. So that was really fun. And then I started writing like more points of view in that book. And then by the time I got to this book, it was so seamless and easy because I just knew which characters needed to talk at which time. And again, the attention deficit brain, anytime I would get like bored or like I'm losing the thread, I'd be like, okay, your turn. Let's talk about you now. Like, where are you? What are you doing? And yeah, it was really nice. And I love having multiple couples in a book to root for because then every time you jump, you're just eager to see like what that couple is
Yes.
doing. And I've always been this way with books or even with shows. I always end up like falling in love with the side couple. And so I fell in love with all of the side couples and ended up giving them all points of view in this book and in book four as well. But yeah, it was a natural evolution. I was lucky because I think that I was worried that I wouldn't be able to, I didn't have like the bandwidth for it. But I did, and I ended up like having a really good time doing it, and it was so much fun to slip into different headspaces all the time, and it's like the ultimate form of empathy. Like I was jumping into all these different headspaces and all these different mentalities, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, I also have a question on all the snark, because that is the other element that is so fun with this, right? I mean, because you have the chaos, you have the adventure, you've got the romance, but then there are so many other elements that are so fun as you read through it. I mean, just tossing, the random intern out the window. I mean, it's like, wouldn't I love to do that? And again, it's that witty banter between all of the various characters. So how many edits and reviews are you doing? Or is that all coming out first and then you have to go back and polish it to, oh, this one needs to be a bit more snarkier? Or are you just naturally
Yeah.
just full of snark and smart ass
I'm a
comments?
very
I don't know.
sarcastic. This was the humor I was raised on. So me and my brothers are very like tongue-in-cheek sort of humor. And I grew up on Gilmore Girls. That was like my favorite show in the entire world. And if you've seen that show, it's like very quick back and forth, very witty, very funny, I think very clever. So I was raised on that. Like I would watch it. I think I've seen that show all the way through, like back to back, like I don't even know, 10 plus times. I sometimes just, again, I have it on in the background constantly. I think I could quote every single episode. But yeah, I think when I first go in, there's occasionally a scene where I go back and I'm like, I don't know what I was doing when I wrote this, but this is not funny at all. That happened a lot with book two because I think I was still finding my footing within this world and extending it. But when I went into book three, it was actually a lot easier, I think, because I was like, I know this world, I know these characters, I know what they would say. And a lot of the time I talk banter out loud. It's usually the easiest part of the story for me is the banter. The hardest part is tying everything together, making sure there's no loose threads, making sure I don't reveal something by accident too soon. Those are the things I usually go back and editing for. The banter is like the most enjoyable part of editing because I forget the scenes and then I go back and I get to reread them with like such a fresh mind that I'm like laughing at my own jokes, which is embarrassing, but I digress. It's a lot of fun. I love the banter. It's probably my favorite part of writing and creating.
Well, and I have both read and listened to your books. And I love the narrator. I
Oh,
mean,
me too.
because
Me
she
too.
just really pulls me in. So if you're talking some of the scenes out yourself and then you go back and read, do you ever go back and listen to the audio version of the books?
I do, and I always say I've listened to like I think the entirety of all the audiobooks, but in pieces. And the reason for this is because after I've written them, sometimes I want to go back and read a section, but I'll want to do it when I'm like driving to my
Oh
parents,
yeah.
which is about an hour away, or when I'm cleaning or when I'm trying to do something else in the house. I like to like, you know, two birds in one stone. So I'll put on that specific section of the book that I need to like remember a specific detail or a scene, or I just want to kind of get in that headspace of that scene to write something that connects to it. So I've listened to most all of them, but in like random order, like not like start to finish, but in like random. I think accumulatively probably listened to all of them like all the way through, but it's been like in pieces as needed. And I have so much fun. M. Eldridge is the audio narrator, and she is fantastic. She does such a good job.
Yeah.
I think everybody that I talk to that has listened to the audio version just like adores her, and she's really good at her job. She makes me look really good.
Well, and again, I think it goes to the stories themselves that they come across so well in audio. And that again, because I do the same thing. I'm driving up to my parents, got that hour drive. And these are books that you just get pulled in, and it's like, oh, well, that drive, okay. Well, can I just stay in the car and listen a little bit more? I'm at that good point. It's like, golly.
Yeah, I love that. That's so flattering.
And another one, because we don't often have this with many of the other books, especially romance books that we're reading. You have merchandise. I go to
Yeah.
BAM and I see like the little stuffed Kingsley and there's other element, and it's like, what is that like seeing your book immortal, or that world kind of immortalized into other elements besides
Oh,
just your words on the page?
it's bonkers. Like I can't express like I just don't even know what to do. I'll walk into a Barnes and Noble to get a book for myself and there'll be like a wall display and I just stare at it and I'm like people probably think I've lost my mind because I've been standing here just staring at it for 10 minutes like in a daze like did what happened? How did this happen? I don't even know. And it's funny because I use all the stuff. Like I have literally right in front of me my pencil pouch. Like I'm not kidding. I use it, and my cousin was like, "You use your own merch?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why would I'm so proud of it." And the Kingsley, I have a stuffed Kingsley that they, Kingdom of Threads, who does the merch, and they're amazing. I'm obsessed with them. They do such a good job with everything that they do, and everything's like really good quality too. And when they
Mhm.
made the Kingsley plush, it was the funniest thing I've ever been a part of in my life because they sent me a lineup of like model frogs to pick from. And I was like, this is the cutest competition I've ever seen in my life. And this, I felt like the Hunger Games. I was like, I can't pick. This is horrendous. Like, can we do all of them? But I think we landed on the right one. But I have one that kind of is like my flat Stanley. He comes to like everywhere. He's been to Australia. He's been to Brazil. Like he's very well traveled. He's a well traveled frog. But yeah, it's wild. I'm wowed by it all the time. My parents are so funny. They order every bit of merch and they wear the hat that just came out
Oh,
to
wow.
everything. My dad said it's because my brothers all played sports and I was not a sporty kid. I just was not competitive at all. That was the problem. I would be like chasing butterflies in the end. Like I just didn't care. And my dad was like, this is like your sporting event. Like, so he'll wear like a frog shirt to every book event and the hat and he's sporting all the merch and wearing the pins and stuff. And he's like, this is like your football. And I'm like, I love that comparison. So it's special. It's extra funny when I see my family doing it because I'm like, it's just mind blowing. Like I can't fully process it, I think, but it's really, really cool. Like it's amazing.
Well, and I have to tell you too, because I haven't completely finished this third one purposefully, so I didn't have spoilers and I wouldn't yell at you, because I found out the title of the fourth book right around when I was starting to read. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Wait, 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 wait. How is she going from the assistant to the apprentice to the accomplice to the adversary? I was like, excuse me?
Oh
So,
yeah,
so is everyone
everybody
just
was
going
like
to
the same
hate
thing.
you before this comes out? And are there more books planned even after book number four?
Yeah, I will say what I can say about the last part of that question is I never fully want to leave this world. Even I think when Evie's because ultimately this is Evie's story, Evie and the villains, the Tristan. Ultimately this is their story. So once that story, wraps up, there's so much more of this world I want to explore, and so many more characters that I would love to tell their stories. There's so many characters I'll write just like to be a part of a scene just for the scene's sake, but then I do this thing where I fall in love with them because they just end up having a really funny personality. Keely, who is the captain of the Malevolent Guard, was never intended to be a main character or part of
Oh
the plot
gosh.
at all. She and a character that comes up in book two just started flirting. Like, and it wasn't with my permission. I was just typing and they started flirting. And I went, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it. But it was so cute. And then I felt like a monster for tearing them apart. So, and then I just fell in love with Keely. But there's so many characters like that that I'm like, if I had 60 more pages with you, the fun
Gosh,
you
yeah.
and I would have together. Um, but yeah, adversary was a shock, I think, to a lot of people. And I knew it too. And unfortunately, I do feed off of the anger because
Oh,
I'm an
great.
Aries. So I love people are like, I'm so mad at you. And I'm like, stop flirting with me. Like, stop it. I'm blushing. I really enjoy it. And so the comments and stuff, everybody's like so confused. And I'm like, hey, I always said that accomplice to the villain actually has a double meaning. And so might adversary.
Okay. All right. I will trust you. I will
Yes.
trust the process. Just saying.
That's very
Okay.
kind of you because a lot of people are like, if you do this, unfortunately, I'm also a spiteful person. So I'm like, don't tell me not to do something because then I'm gonna do it. Somebody commented once and they were like, I can't believe how slow this slow bird is. Like, I hate you so much. And I was like, well, now they're not gonna make eye contact for 300 pages just because of you. And I'm like, I don't like that about myself. It's an ugly thing, but I can't stop it. I just start doing it. I'm like, oh no, it got in my head. Now I'm being
Well,
spiteful.
well, Hannah, okay, we'll leave it that on that note, but I'm going to see if I can stump you then. And we're going to
Okay.
switch over to some of our fresh fiction facts. Okay,
Okay.
kind of what comes off the top of your head.
Okay.
This one I'm going to change up a little bit because I am going to limit it to your characters in these stories
Okay. I'm nervous.
because there's such a range as to where you could go with this. Who would you most want to be stuck in an elevator with?
Tatiana. That was my first instinct, I think.
Okay,
Tatiana. Yeah.
alrighty.
Yeah.
Um, if you knew it was real, would you rather run into a dragon or an alien?
A dragon. 100%. I'm still waiting for the dragon to show up for me. Like every day I look out the window, like, where is it? I've been waiting 28 years for you. Like, come, please. Definitely a dragon.
What, other than books, what is something that you own a ridiculous amount of?
Oh, um, oh gosh, that is a stump question, isn't it? I think Sharpies. Sharpies.
Oh
I
gosh.
own, and I did not anticipate that, but when I became an author, you realize how short a Sharpie's life is. And I forget which ones work and which ones don't, and I hate throwing things away and wasting it. So I have a million of them, and I don't know which ones. It's always a gamble. I'm like, which one is gonna work?
Oh, no, no, no. That's definitely one thing I learned over the years. As soon as one doesn't work or even looks
Chuck
like it
it.
doesn't work, it gets chucked.
Yep,
I
that's
mean,
a lesson
right
I've
there.
yet to learn. So hopefully one day I won't own a lot of Sharpies. I
Yeah.
also have a lot of plush
Sharpies,
stuffed
dry
animals.
erase, and pens. You
Yeah.
gotta, as soon
Oh
as it
yeah, yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
work, just throw it away immediately.
You're correct, and I need to adopt that mentality because it's starting to get overbearing. I have a drawer just full of them. Like it's bad.
And don't think I didn't hear the other answer, the plushies.
Yes, I have so I don't know how I think it happened because my fiance and I have a like we had a running bickering match about throw pillows on the bed. And I love throw pillows. And if it was up to me, I'd have like 600 throw pillows on the bed, which is why the villain in the book has 600 throw pillows on the bed. My fiance, when he read that, stormed into the room and went, "Is this about me?" And I went, "I wrote my ideal man." I created my ideal man and he has 600 throw pillows on his bed. But he never said it. And so we agreed upon two pillows, which is not enough. And so unreasonable, I think. So I just started adding stuffed animals because I was like, he didn't say anything about stuffed animals. And at first it was because when book one came out, I was like really anxious and my publisher was so sweet and sent me a weighted stuffed animal. And that started the frenzy because every time I was out, I would see a plushie and I'd be like, all right, well, I have to buy another one. And we have a
Of
guest
course.
room now with a guest bed, and that one is also full of plushies. So we own a lot of stuffed animals. I don't know what we'll do with them, but they sit on the bed. I arrange them like real nicely in the morning.
You just need to organize them by like different
Yes.
holidays and
Yes.
themes, and then you can just rotate them through as
Yes.
you,
There's just
yeah.
such a an amalgamation of different characters going on. Like they're all from different things, and one's a dragon, one's a leopard, and one's Eeyore. It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Okay, you've been kidnapped, but they return you 2 hours later because you will not stop talking about what?
Oh, I think just not stop talking in general. I
Oh,
think like we
doesn't
have a
matter the
joke about
topic,
this.
huh?
Yeah, we have a joke about this in my family because I babble when I'm nervous. So I probably would go on a rant about something completely random. And my brothers would be like, they'd bring you back. They'd be like, oh my God, just the mistakes were made. Like, take her back. Like, this is unbelievable because that's why I don't have secrets. I'm very bad at I'm good at keeping other people's secrets but not my own because I talk so much that I have to start dipping into the stuff I'm not supposed to say, which is why I swear my publisher is probably so nervous at all times that I'm going to say something that I'm not supposed to say because I'm constantly biting my tongue like, "Oh no, I can't say that." And I have a theory that's why they let me announce the book 4 title so soon. I think they knew that it was about to pop out of my mouth at any second. I was not holding it in well. So I think I really anything, maybe historical romance books. I have such like an affinity for them and I ride so hard for that community of authors. So I think maybe that would be the topic, but who knows? Who knows, really?
What is your most dog-eared book? The one that you keep going back to reread, either for pleasure or that you might look at for research?
Yeah, it's a historical romance book, actually. It's called The Duchess Steele by Tessa Dare.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
it was my gateway book into historical romances back in 2020. No, I lied. 2019 or 2018, actually. 2018, when I like first like got into the genre. I'd seen somebody recommending it and they said it was like a Beauty and the Beast type of retelling. And I read Tessa Dare's entire backlog after
Oh,
that
yeah.
book. And then I went on a frenzy. I read every historical romance author I could get my hands on. But I specifically love Tessa Dare because she's so funny and
Mhm.
witty, and her books are the characters are so lovable and endearing that you're just in it. And every book is like that. Like I've yet to read one of her books that I'm not like super attached to the characters and giggling to myself every 5 seconds. But The Duchess Dale is my comfort book. I reread it whenever I'm sad or whenever I'm stuck like creatively. I go back and reread it just to get out of my head for a little bit and go somewhere like I'm familiar with. And it's my favorite book. One of my favorite books ever. I love it so much.
And I love how you call it, that's your gateway
Yeah, oh
book
yeah.
also. I think
Yeah.
so many of us have those gateway books for
Oh
different
yeah.
genres and reading in general, where it's like,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, that was my that was the one that
Yeah.
started it all, right?
Yes, yes, 100%. I remember fantasy too. Like I feel like I have all these books that like open the door and then you never close it. You're just like every book I can get my hands on in this genre, I'm going to read.
Do you feel pinpointed at all by the romantasy label? I mean, if you read historical romance and fantasy, I mean, the romantasy is still kind of new, and your book kind of straddles all these different elements.
Yeah, it was actually a funny thing when we were like going into like pitch it to publishers and on submission and stuff because cozy fantasy, which is like a niche that my book falls into a lot.
Mhm.
And people call it romantasy, romance, fairy tale, like it's so many
Yeah.
different things. But that was, I think, a lot of the publishers that declined was their hesitation because they're like, we're not sure what genre this is. Like, I don't know how to sell this.
And
And
if
I'm
they
like,
can't
that's
market and
fair.
sell it, right?
It's
Yeah.
a lot of different things. But then like later there was a like a surgence of cozy fantasy books. And no, I actually think the romantasy genre, I think it's actually been around for a while. I think we just have a word for it now. I think there's so many authors that have been writing like romantic, heavy fantasy books for a really long time.
Mhm.
They're just kind of out in the spotlight now, and more books are coming out every single day, which means that there's a book for everyone, every type of person, every type of brain. We all like different things and we all connect to different things, and that's why like all of these books is so important because we all can connect to them. So no, I think it's really great. It's a very women driven genre. It's a very like women taking agency over themselves sort of books. And I've always loved fantasy books, but a lot of the fantasy books I read growing up were male-centered books. Like they
Yeah.
were male main characters, and there were female characters in the books, but they were usually like pigeonholed into a stereotype, or we just didn't get a lot of them, or we didn't really know a lot about them. So these stories are nice because we can feel like we're the hero in the story and we get to be like the main player. And I think that's really special for all women of all ages.
Okay. And totally agree because I always love the strong female
Yeah.
protagonists and where they're just, and again, having the humor in there while they find themselves in these situations. But with that, what is your oddly specific pet peeve that no one else seems bothered by?
Oh,
Because
okay.
I know you've got to have one. Come
I
on.
do, and I don't like it about myself, and I want to say that now. I know it's not I hate it about myself, but I am such a like go 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 person that if I remember in high school like walking to class, there would be people just taking their sweet time in the hallway. In the hallways, I had a huge high school with like 700 kids in my class, just in my class, and it was like 4 grades. So walking in the hallway was like a herd of cattle, and this everyone would walk like they had just had all day, and we had 5 minutes to get from one end of the school to the other. And I was like, move, move, move! Like, what are you doing? I have to go. Like, I fit it. I could never live in New York City, but I could if it was just the walking because I they sprint there, and I'm like, I feel seen. Like, I'm just like, go, go, go. So I think so getting stuck behind someone walking slow if they are able to walk faster. If they are unable to walk faster, I'm obviously like not bothered at all. But it's if they're like on purpose walking like at a leisurely pace, I'm like, please move, please move. I need to go. I need to go. And it's really my own impatience. I just want to get from one point to another as quickly as humanly possible. And I again don't like this about myself. It's really bad.
Okay, what is something that you refuse to spend money on, no matter how much everyone else loves it?
Oh, I think like really nice shoes. I don't know because I get all my maybe I shouldn't say that because I do have a pair of Uggs. That's not true. They were a gift though. I like buy all my shoes at Target. Like I have friends that like have like designer shoes that are beautiful and I think they're stunning. Like I think everybody should spend money on what like makes them really happy and the things that they like because I have frivolous things I spend money on that people are like, "Why are you buying that?" I bought a mermaid tail over the summer. I have no room to talk about anything. I just was like, I want to swim in a tail. And so
And
I
have
bought
you
one.
actually used it yet?
Oh yes, multiple times. I've had one since 6th grade, but it was kind of getting worn out. So I like
Oh, okay.
I got an upgrade this year, which again is where I'm like, I can't judge anybody's purchases
Okay.
because I bought a mermaid tail. And I use it all the time. Anytime the pool's available, I go. So I don't know. I think I can't think of anything like specific. Because I think if gosh, it's really tough because I don't actually know. I think there's like if I really, really I find value in experiences, so that's where I try to put my money. I don't know. I don't know. I think I have no idea. I don't know. You stumped me on that one.
Well, with being stumped, then, okay, I'll give you an easy question to wrap up with.
Okay.
Where is the best place for our readers and listeners to keep up with you, find out what's going on, and what they can look forward to next?
Okay. Yeah. So I post the most to TikTok and Instagram at Hannah Nicole May. It's just my author name, but the first 3 letters of my last name because my last name is very confusing. I was so impressed you pronounced it correctly because naturally people pronounce it wrong all the time because there's 3 E's in a word that's like 2 syllables. Actually, it's one. Mayor. That's 1 syllable. Why are there so many E's in it? That's crazy. That's
I have to admit, I had a bit of a sanity check because again, I've been listening to your books on through my Libby and on ebook, right?
yeah.
So they do, I hope, try to make sure the authors' names are pronounced correctly on there.
Oh,
And then I
they
was
do.
doing
Yeah.
other research, but then I had pulled up some other random interview. It wasn't an interview, but it was somebody who was doing an Audible book review, and he
Okay.
completely said the name different. And I'm like,
Oh
whoa,
yeah.
wait a minute. I am talking to her in about 15 minutes. Wait. And I went down this whole other trail again of like, okay, I need to do some sanity checks here of
Every time I talk to my dad about it, he's like, there was an umlauts over it at one point. And I'm like, but there isn't now. So it's just confusing for everybody involved. Like, people will pronounce it wrong and be so apologetic. And I'm like, please don't apologize. If it wasn't my last name, I wouldn't know how to pronounce it. I get like Mirrorer or Mahara was my favorite one. That one was fun. I was like, oh, Mahara. I like that. But when we call for takeout, they're like Mayer. And we're like, sure, whatever's easiest. Like write down whatever you
Yeah.
can, really. We just want to pick up the Chinese food. We don't really care what name
Yeah.
you have.
Yeah. That's why a lot of times I'll give them like Sam. It's just
Yeah.
easier to type.
It's yeah, it's quicker.
Yeah.
It's let's not make this more difficult of an experience.
Well, for everyone listening, if you have not picked up Hannah's books, you need to. The first three are out: Assistant to the Villain, Apprentice to the Villain, and the latest, The Accomplice to the Villain. And I guarantee she will have you laughing. And if you go and check out the various clips on Instagram and BookTok, you will also continue to have a good giggle on each of these
Oh,
things.
you're so sweet. Thank you.